선바 창조주도 샘체네 드네 제 선바 shows
Please listen to the teachings with bodhicitta.
드네 다 창조 선바 메베제비기 창조 선바 기 살라 미그네 만남 자베 코티 다 차네 드네 창조 선바 파바 사토비 창조 선비기 살라 미그네 드네 만남 코르다 쉐디 가인스
So I've already explained the aspiration with reference to the bodhisattva in the path of intentional conduct, the ordinary individual bodhisattva. And I'm in the process of explaining the aspiration prayer with reference to the bodhisattva in the higher bhumis, the sublime bodhisattvas.
되네 다 메베제버스도 가상 슈츠바이 똥번이 다때 가서 똥번이 된지 잠지 자 잠지마다 한 마고 내 당법을 그렇게 쓰기 어려.
So as I've already explained, the bodhisattva in the path of intentional conduct or the ordinary bodhisattva refers to the bodhisattva who has not really realized the view of shunyata or emptiness, but have a vague understanding or the abstract understanding of the literal understanding of emptiness.
되네 똥이 마도 똥이 된지 좀 마도 쓰디다 인진 비디바양 다 삽삽 마조 좀 맞다 인진 용 빵다 가바트 다 삽삽 지가 좀 맞다 같은데 지금
So again, it also refers to the fact that the bodhisattva, when we say the bodhisattva has just have an intellectual or the abstract understanding of the emptiness, means that the bodhisattva has not really purified the defilement of the dualistic clinging. So the bodhisattva has not yet made the defilement of dualistic clinging very subtle.
되네 인진 세긴다다 디스트레티 다테지 택바 체중기 쇼초콜로 러정도 때스 메바이나 되네 레 당법바 속에 가들럽기 미치는 거에 주지 말았어.
So the concept of dualistic clinging or the duality, it might be slightly difficult for the beginner practitioners, the people who are on the just entered the path and have not thoroughly studied the philosophic texts that explain the concept of this view and the principles.
되네 레 당법발로 보대보 전에 삼탕 예약 체도 인진디 곰시다 맨저 요하는 것처럼 된제기 때문에 삼탕나 패치때스 패나 지시스.
So for the beginners, in order for them to understand easily, we have so many habits, and if I explain the dualistic clinging from this point of view or within this context, it might help these people to understand the concept better.
되네 가장 큰 다와지 중에는 다와지 니진서를 응아나 속복 룽벌 직침바인스.
About 2 months ago, I visited or I've been to Mongolia.
되네 건조기 호텔 찍라 자섬스.
So they put me in a hotel.
되네 나도 다 나도 가사 하저기 쇼자 사가저디 되네 막 칼라시다 뭐 방딩니 자도스.
So in the morning when I went for breakfast, there were like a line of dishes line up for the breakfast.
되네 디노는 속고기 투몽마인 비기 자다 되네 속고기 칼라든지 자도.
So with among this the line of food, they also had the unique Mongolian food, that like tea and the edibles.
근데 뒤준지당 난 하도 칼라스 시다사야 가보면
So usually I'm not really keen on taking breakfast.
이나야 속고기 디 칼라 기테나라 다 배자랑 그래도 딘데지도 근데 앞에 수저를 가보요.
So in that in the within the among the Mongolian food is the Tibetan butter tea. So I really like the Tibetan tea.
근데 니마 카시식 딱발 깡순 되게 돈다는 마친 배자통이 있어.
So for a few days, I deliberately went for breakfast and drank the butter tea, the Tibetan salted tea.
근데 대념도 베백 발란 발렙 나지 속고기 발렙 딘데나라 마르죽 추라죽 세인스.
And with the tea, I also ate the Mongolian bread, similar to the Tibetan bread, by inserting butter and the cheese in between the slices of the Mongolian bread.
근데 니마 찡에 속고 와시바티가 아 최대는 딱이 원말을 빼 가위를 사러 왔어 이도.
So one day, the Mongolian guy told me that you must really like the Tibetan food.
딱이 원말.
Tagyong. So the horse milk.
딱이 원마다 딱이 말을 빼 가위를 사러 왔어 이도. 안에 짠 가보 메스도 나도 속고 나랑 속고 있는데 딱이 원말을 가위 메스도.
And he told me that you must really like the horse milk and the horse butter, and he himself did not like the horse butter and milk.
디 깨쳐디 고마 타두파 닝강 쭉메랑스.
The moment I heard this from him, then I felt nausea for the whole day.
데네 파단 디 성인네 데네 디 초라 짠 송메스.
Then from the next day, I didn't even turn my face towards that food.
재성 딱 만주리 잡고 바주기 원말라 가 딱이 원말라 마가 생더버들에게 인진 요아레스.
So we have this dualistic clinging, or the dualistic distinction of liking the cow's milk and not liking the horse milk.
나 대다 딘데 딱이 원말라 셴발로 왔다 말로 왔다 디스트리데 에 코랑 충충 강에 딱 곰시 대야 인지레스.
So feeling disgust or revulsion towards the horse milk might be due to the habit that I carry from childhood,
대가나지 딱 제방 한마기 곰시에 인지레스.
and it must also be the habitual pattern from my past lives.
재정 단다양 되는 부상부집이 mellам 셰두가나 늘지기 땡나 늘해 그 상제 요아래 생인데부터서 레 당법발 셰나 셴발롱로 장들.
So
상무 땅 셰게야 봐.
likewise, if the concepts such as on one atom there are the Buddhas as many as the atoms that possibly exist in the universe, then the people cannot digest. They will feel disgusted towards that. They will not know how to understand and hear this.
다 이나야 다 단다 melllam 된데 레투버 쇼스 melllam 잡이 갑레스.
So, however, this is a moment where this is a situation where we're just making the aspiration that we can relate to such kind of concepts.
다 가상 되네 간서 늘지기 땡나 늘해 주비 그 상제 장주선비 코리권이 주바 답이 melllam 찹네 다 드링 되네 대달말로 탐지 초수요. 따sam전에 두숨 생이지 상제 점 신남 점소도 까바 점서 주신 라도 주스. 되네 신감 점서라요. 신감 점서 깔바 점서를 깔바 뺀 깔바 망고기 신감 점서다 볼라 깨지니도 주비면은
So, having explained the aspiration to be able to see the Buddhas, infinite Buddha sitting on a single atom. After having explained this prayer, today now I'm going to explain the aspiration that one will be able to enter into the ocean of Buddha fields for countless eons.
다 단다 매베 제비 값수 도지 된 예비 값수 빌릴 텝지kan 드야 메
So, in the path of the intentional conduct, when we are on the path of intentional conduct or ordinary individual bodhisattva, while we are sitting under the Bodhi tree at Bodhi Gaya, simultaneously we cannot go to Delhi or we cannot travel to Delhi.
어다 사토비기 정집 삼바솔라 데네 깔 신감 잠솔라 깨지 필라 데네 도투기 여바테 데네 속고처고 오마 따이 오마 코라 퉁퉁 코나 심바만 로지 퉁어도 찍어지진 차거
So, the sublime bodhisattvas or the enlightened bodhisattvas being able to enter into the countless eons, countless oceans of Buddha fields simultaneously is like a person being able to drink the horse milk, the Mongolian horse milk, and not feeling disgusted towards it.
데네 숨지 연라 저수 다케 자와게 연라 남다 도와긴지 삼바 지진 상제 숭라 따도 유버치 세네 데네 상제 그 숭자 메저 숭와 대서 탐제라양 뒤 따도 상제 그숭 잠수 따블 유버치스
So the next aspiration is the aspiration to be able to enter into the ocean of the speech or the teachings, the different varieties of the teachings, countless teachings of the Buddhas in one single instant.
다 단다 매베 제비값 스테지 죽투기 메인서 데 매비 줌센지 데네 참참라지 초리저든데 용기가
So again, while in the path of intentional conduct, or while we are individual ordinary bodhisattvas, we are not able to enter into the ocean of the speech of the Buddhas. So because of that, sometimes we fall into, we have a sectarian attitude.
젠다다 파자 숭양 잠서다 불러다 파자 미율도 숭제비 최라양 참참랑 나 데이세 데이드나 데네 찌우 장주선바 레비 값수 생더부 근데 제방 하마 예반하지 강사 예반하지 되는 숭 참참나 강사당 최당 근데 강야 매버도 숭어도 고탐 들어봤던 데가 숭양 연라 숭양 잠서다 불러 죽마투비 좀 신지
Let alone being able to enter into the ocean of the speech of the Buddha simultaneously in one instance, when the Buddha sometimes say some contradictory thing, such as that at that time, at that place, that I was born as a certain being, like a monkey, as if there is the being. And in another context, Buddha also at the same time says that there's no such thing as the person or a self. And when we hear this kind of contradictory teachings, then we get confused. And this is because of not being able to enter into the ocean of the speeches of the Buddha.
데네 가상 슈바이 페버치근도 숭사기 간상 콜라 뱀 마시 미 마인 받는데 망고시다 요사래
As I explained earlier, the audience or the disciples who received or who listened to the Avatamsaka Sutra, there seems to be infinite non-human disciples or the audience.
대철라 양 숭양 연라 소소 소소 숭화 대서양 장기 때네 갖고 버셔스
So,
간사 대철라 유튜버 쇼스 유버 지스단 유기 인세고서
so you make the aspiration and commitment that you are able to even enter into the different kinds of languages that Buddha used to give the teachings, the Avatamsaka Sutra, like the sutra like Avatamsaka Sutra, to different kinds of audience, the beings.
뒤숨식이 자와 틈제도 콜레츠는 랍도 거와이 대다기양 숭양 미제라 로이 또치 다장 랍도 주스 다 뒤숨의 집이 자와 틈제기 때는 뒤자 소소 또사라 최지 콜로 늘자야 카탕야기 체도 자 민자테도 숭어테솔라 로그도 주와쇼 주인스.
So you also make the commitment that the next is that you also make the commitment that through the power of your mind or confidence that you will enter into the different kinds of different levels of teachings that Buddha gave in order to inspire beings and guide them to the state of enlightenment.
Tene ti julata kalbin jupase naon kalbatum ji juparya kesi ji dasan juparchi khayan kalbatusum sede da kesi cheche ji ni juparches tate danda rang danda marang sun dinana yeye khala tene maung pe kalbat ta maung pa kalbat samji michabat desola yang kechi chigla tene maung pa chuta dandala kiwana jinchene juins.
And the next aspiration and commitment is that you make the aspiration and commitment that you will enter into the ocean of the future ages or the future eons right now in a single moment, in a fraction of a second.
Tene maung pa changpa mayin bata düsumji kechik düsumji düsö jamja tamchela kechik danda rang pan roins.
And you also make the commitment that you will enter into the past, present, and future at this very moment in a single fraction of a second.
Disu tredi chojini kesha gojugana ta samji michabugi zumchure sene goya sigre.
So when you hear this, you might, from one angle, when you hear this, you might think that this is an inconceivable magic or the miracle.
Ina yang sama yabu tang shiba ina du second de maung tata second du tamche log jota jawa imba hakona tene ndi kayang kala meba de insar.
So in actuality, if we think deeply, in actuality, if one understands the time, the past, present, and the future, the elaboration of the time, the past, present, and future is just a fabrication of our conception mind, then it is not necessarily difficult or inconceivable to be able to digest this kind of concept.
Ina yang chisidu tene dugi zimbati mashiki pardo pena nganzu dabuchila sangi yuwa mare sangi second cancel tang jaware second laba yawaina tene tagi wamatungo wanaji chagaware samlo na kimatu.
So at the moment, since we have a very strong grasping and clinging towards the time, that past, present, and future, then suppose if the tomorrow, like the time tomorrow or the future is cancelled, then it will be like drinking the horse's milk.
Tene di jula ta dijin shepala tawatang dijin shepagi kui kaskusung tugi chepala jugi melam.
So the next is the aspiration to see the Tathagatas and to enter into the conduct or the activity of the Tathagatas, the Buddhas.
뒤숨시바 미 생계가 대다케지지라 다기다 따도 대다기니 주의를 주머지비 남사도지 주스 단당 먼저 매배집이 값수 대신 셰바 상제 생인데 삼란 남땅인데지 차를 홍센 함대켄다다 산년기 찾아야 대반다다 다직미 속단하신데 율망가달라 홍세 동바지 남네 생혐도 패비거다다 진짜 지금 맞아 삼란 땅 두기 매제.
So again, as a individual ordinary being or the beings in the path of intentional conduct, when we think about the Buddha, we only think about Buddha in terms of a normal human being, the one who existed in Magadha, holding the begging bowl, and also while sitting, making this earth-touching mudra, and going around or walking around, holding the begging bowl and begging for alms.
Then Sanjay Dojina Sumi than Dodik Mink Tengamid. He's been Jambagumbola, Sanjay Shakatubaki, Jambagumbola, he's been Jambalyangi Korla so much.
So I don't remember the name of the sutra. In that sutra, it mentions that there is a story that Buddha said to Bodhisattva Maitreya about the how the Buddha talked to Bodhisattva Manjushri.
Sanjay, Tene, he's been Jambagumbola, Tadas. He's been Jambagumbo, Kombatuptan Kandid Stas, Netes Lesabas over that, the Rayoma.
So I'm just making this story easier to understand here. In the sutra, it says that to Buddha says to Arya Maitreya, Jambagumbola Sungrewa.
He's been Jambagumbola, Tadas. Tene, Jambayangi, Kombatuptan, Tadas, Kombat.
So Buddha says to Arya Maitreya to look at how Manjushri is walking.
Jizun Jambayangi, Kombat Chik, Kombat Shabya, Chak. Tenema Salajag, Kombat Chik Poyatang, Kalbat Chaneba Mangola So Sagigi, Kansachigi, Shini, Kombat country to the Yemete Hakogar Mato, Laboja Hakog Marisungers.
So Buddha said to Arya Maitreya that the how Manjushri walks or while walking lift the feet and again places on the ground can only be understood by a person who has accumulated enormous or infinite amount of merit.
Tene Tati Sanjik Sung, that Sanjik Korangi, then Kui Jebate, the Samji Michabat insert.
So, with reference to this, it seems that the activity or the conduct of the Buddha himself is really unimaginable. It's beyond imagination.
That Tanda Manzuk Sambenala, Shoya, Te Chik Gaden Nene, Po, Lumbini, La Tung, Narenzala, Lotu Kawa, Je, Sangadabata, Tessere, Tamjit, Manzuk Samana, Shong Tubat.
So that the conduct of the Buddha or the activity of Buddha that can fit into our mind or that we can possibly imagine is that the Buddha's descent from the Tushita heaven, taking birth in Lumbini and going through the austere penance at the bank of Niranjana and so on. Only that much can fit into our very small conceptual mind.
Tandinala, Teneta, Tunjusemba Paja, Sanje, Tamjeki, Jeba, Korenama Tamje, Tene, Jumar Jibiki, Namtarki, Toki, Netagi, Segorta.
So in this prayer, we are making this commitment or generating this confidence that or making the aspiration that let alone the conduct or the activity of the bodhisattvas, all the activities and the conduct of the Buddhas as it is, I will look at it or see it because through the power of knowing that everything is illusion or illusory.
Tene yang Sanjiki Sing number Jubiki, Melamla, Kayan to Sumtaki Shinkopa, Tata Dujik number to Tatamali Chanam Tamji to Javataki Shingnam Girl and Jews in the Sanjiki Sing, Goba, Duljikiting that Hachang, Samji Michaba Yobate, Tela Tene Nien Juins.
So the next is the aspiration to enter into the Buddha field of the Buddha field of the Buddhas, the infinite Buddhas that exist on the one single atom of that's one single atom in one single instant.
전에 가상 류지 등의 dünya 상제 남 생긴 대갑대 라 상제 dengi 싱 라 전에 봐 매박이 거네 말람 잡아 다단 디 값수 상제 랑기 준표기 떡지 전에 상제기 싱라 전에 주와 대인서래
So the difference between the earlier aspiration to enter into the Buddha field, the infinite Buddha field, is through the intentional conduct or through intention, through imagination here. And here it refers to entering into the Buddha field, the infinite Buddha fields or Buddha fields, through the miraculous power.
다 상제기 꿈든라 태가를 넣어기 말람 강야마 준 지된 드라마는 장출된 바 상제 콜로건 양현대 버려도 신타든 면복균지 정도 다 치워스 상제기 강사 대망부터 뒤숨기 상제 전세 탐지기 꿈든라 태가를 넣어기 말람
So next is then aspiration to enter into the realm of the Buddhas, the domain of the past, present, and the futures directly in a manifest form.
다 대양 전에 믹스기 마옹백이 상제 당보 장주초도 셈제 다 마옹백이 상 마옹백이 상제 탐제 장주초도 셈제디 마디리 도이 스티자들아
So especially here, it refers to enter into the realm or the domain of future Buddhas when they generate the bodhicitta or the enlightened aspiration.
디 강사되기 당보 장주초도 셈제도 같은 델레야 차스를 쳐버버건 로인스
So you make aspiration that when that person, the future Buddha, makes aspiration and generate aspiration of bodhicitta, I will go to pay homage and offer prostrations and make offerings.
데니 디 강사되기 깔바 장메스음나 데니 뱀마스기 까바 ចេ네 초사되거나 데니 달라 콤페나 데난 드네 차스를 쳐버버긴스
So you also make aspirations that when this person engages in the path of accumulation and purification for 3 countless eons, you will go straight and prostrate and make offerings.
데니 대답이 강사티 타말 넘버저버 장주 신중고 올라 넘버저버 상제 최지컬로 걸 데니 꾸이급어 드니 양현래 대주고 디디 대소 탐질했다 인다 인 대소 짠 런에 차업설 제반들 진짜 책임스
Of course, you make this aspiration that when this person finally attains Buddhahood and turns the wheels of dharma, turn the wheel of dharma and enter into parinirvana, you will directly go and pay homage and make offerings.
다디 죽라 데니 melom top kansa top damin da tende yongyak ched melom
So following this, the aspiration for actualizing or attaining the different kinds of power.
간제 top sedugana mitumbi cho tene nyemon batizo gitsu la makhe zimbani bachigla top yenten gitachigin sar
So here the power refers to the ability or the quality that one cannot be affected or trampled by the obstructing conditions, especially the afflictions, the afflictive emotions.
tene kundu nyuri zumchu tomnada kunne goyi tekbe tomnada kundu yenten chobe tomnada kundu chamba chaba dagitu kundu gebisunum tomnada chaba meber chubi yeshitup sharabtadun dingding tabdagi janchu tomna yandar drubarches peche top chutsi yosayo
So basically, there are about 10 powers that you aspire to actualize.
tene top dangote kundu nyurweki top tachi 차수버 레면로 peche
So the first power is the power of swiftness. So
then
the agility, I think, being
uh
able to accomplish, the power to accomplish.
상제 탐지 benna 다 대긴 공도 슈번나지 상제 탐지 전주주도 셈제 최주 콜로 콜로와단 되게 값다 차세건 조긴 제법도가 조긴 쓰는 건 좀 남자여 디디가 따다 되는 랩톱 사주고
So this actually refers to, as I explained earlier, that you make aspiration that when the future Buddha attains enlightenment and turn the wheel of Dharma and enter into parinirvana, you just directly enter into that domain and make offerings and prostrations. So this power refers to this ability or the power to accomplish this aspiration.
관제 꾼뉴르 기톱대 초직네 주당 젠 수 간사 동결 제야라 백해바침 자기 차비가 떠비지
So actually, from one angle or one perspective, this power refers to being becoming skilled in gathering the causes and conditions to actualize the aspiration.
Tene kune goyi tekbe tomnamtang sedi, tene sanjegi sung, tekba rinpa mandraba, duju nganzu tekba sum se shayabda, tekba natso pe masib mangbo yosada, teso tamje la, tekba rinpa tra mindra la, jug nipa tende.
So the next power refers to the power of being able to enter into not just the three yanas that we generally accept, but all the infinity yanas, the different kinds of yanas that Buddha taught according to the propensity of different beings.
Tanda pe na nganzu samsamna, ripar mhawi, tatoke ba yinsinge, ripar mraknya yinsedi, tene chik susum sangwe ta, toya amdatam, tene jumsenda tende shena, yang te namchola rodeba. yang chik dewa chendang tene sando peri singda tende shedi kana ta te yang khurang daga sene tene chik jangdani na chita re sene chik namchol chida mandwa na chita yongre.
So at the moment, because of being uh, uh, the reason-oriented person, or like the follower of the logic, being a follower of logic, then we can accept the logic when to explain the things. But when the concepts such as the Sukhavati, the Buddha fields, then we don't really accept that, don't really go into our ears, and we just think that these are provisional teachings or expedient teachings.
다당가랑 준낭라양 벤나 땡징 전중 singda 똥니 singda shena te chik kansa telya never yunkin metin yunkin de yang jewang hachi singda dong tinde shena yang te dagasta ko lebaning de kecharesne namjol mandrokin tinde yawari so tekbal jug matu wi da oris.
So there are some people who can accept the teachings of dependent arising, shunyata, and so on. So they really can digest this. But when the teachings talk about karma and the reincarnation, then that really does not assimilate into their mind system. They think that it is outdated thinking or outdated concept.
Tene kundu yonten chubi tomnam dang se ta ti kortela kyul yongsu tabegin donam pem masik jeshin jeba yore.
So the next power, the power of engaging in the qualities. So this is widely explained or explained in vast in the sutras.
Pero changchu semba kangba tokal yan zadu gana tene kansa samlo tanga changchu semba kangba ni ma par du gana samlo tanga ya changchu semba khala sadu gana ya samlo tanga ya tete tamche kan da kanje changchu semba gyucho tezi tangna teso tamche tene yonten changchu sembi yonten gi cheba red to be top.
So this power refers to the, the how to cultivate the attitude of the bodhisattva while going upstairs, going downstairs, while taking meals and doing all kinds of activities, even just a small movement. Then
Then it could
even for this small movement, that this power actually is to develop that attitude or that the quality of how to transform these activities into the good qualities, the beneficial qualities.
then it couldn't chapa jamba tagi tops. Then something tamjila chap nubigi jamba. Dayang chik nyam tabu tesula jamba cheadang, yang chik juchubodang, kosatumba tesula jambaki kansa malabatin reminder. Couldn't tamjila chapiki jambaki top.
The next is the power of all pervasive kindness or loving kindness. So this loving kindness should pervade everybody, all beings, everything, not just the beings who are suffering and emaciated, but those who are rich, powerful, and so on.
Then couldn't give it some namdang to the sonam gitop shagger.
So the next refers to the power of merit.
Then sonam gitop sidigana penna jitembiki la sangba singda wangshu chamba singo tesoyang sijinen nubiki sonam gitop.
So this the power of merit refers to the merit that one can outshine the power of the worldly deities or the worldly celestial beings, gods such as Brahma, Indra, and so on.
Then 대양 jumsente then ni kansa nimeki tawa ki tsimbiki sonam yeba yinsang tigres.
So the reason why the bodhisattva's merit is able to outshine the power of these worldly gods is because this merit is accompanied by the view of non-duality.
Then tijula chapa meber chirbi yeshe tops samchingi pen cheala zodang jutsaldang ta dra minda kari gogi yona te then kansa chakto meba chato mebi top.
So next is to develop or cultivate the power of not getting obstructed or having hindrance. So while trying to cultivate the arts and all the methods to benefit other beings, that you don't have the obstruction or a hindrance in accomplishing this activity.
Then sharap tadang tingting tabda ki chanchu tono yanda drubarche sidukana ta then kansa che tamjiki nelu sarji total dima cheba tegi tengdu then dotubaki top sevarabata.
So the next is the cultivating the power of prajna, the wisdom, transcendental wisdom, meditative absorption, and the bodhicitta. So it refers to cultivating the power of being able to enter into the view, the profound view, which is beyond extremes and uncompounded.
Then sharap tegi kadinki sevarabata sharap tegi jumsenki then devatam dinane migi vichu tamji chang chanchu sembiki lamla jurni biki top.
So
Tate
so the next is the power of to cultivate the power of method, that through wisdom, that through this non-dual wisdom, the profound wisdom, one is able to transform not only the virtue, even the non-virtue into the path that leads to benefiting other beings and finally leading to enlightenment.
Tene kechik rere la yang tingin zingi top tene kansa tadi tingin zingi top singdi sangje ki tumo mai yang kansa top pakpi sal yung kingi yunten chepar chinjire.
So the next is the power of meditative absorption and the power of being able to enter into the different kinds of absorption. Every single moment is a unique quality or the characteristics of the sublime enlightened bodhisattvas.
Bena marangso tene sharab nyingboda jila chachana yuri chagyu pungbu ribola sanje tene kundu kaingo samanawanyi ji tingin zinan tende yuwa yin sigiwar.
So, for instance, in the Heart Sutra, Prajnaparamita Rita, in the opening line, it says that Buddha entered into the absorption of perceiving and viewing the profound.
Tene sanje ki samanawanyi ji tingin zinan nyambarishikbo degi kadingi sawar, degi tugi tene shari budang kaingo nganzo papacherezi ni kamen naya.
So it is said in the sutra that through the power of Buddha entering into that absorption of seeing or perceiving the profound, and Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara and Shariputra could enter into the discussion.
That disope hansa top ju shindu jachimbar dendo that bidu samji.
So the subject on these 10 powers is actually very vast. So I'm just trying to explain in brief.
어차 대답이 top 대답 참제 장슈 초려야 줄뉴버기 top 다티 장주도 나양다 두버제 스타티기 top 탐마디.
So the last of this is that to cultivate the power of transforming all this power into the cause of Buddhahood or enlightenment. So I will continue with the explanation tomorrow.